Insights, practical truths for successful living with Carl Summer.
The Emperor and the Seed is about an old emperor who didn't have a son. One day he told his wife, "We are getting old, and we do not have a son to become the next emperor. What should we do?" "Why don't you ask your trusted advisors?" said the queen. "Excellent!" exclaimed the emperor. The wise emperor called his 7 most trusted advisors and asked them for suggestions. One of the most important keys to becoming successful is to realize the importance of learning to seek after counsel and wisdom from others. I've had a very varied career. After high school, I worked in an insurance company in Manhattan and also Chase Manhattan Bank. And then I didn't particularly care for that type of work. I took machine shop in Brooklyn Tech High School, and then I got a job as a tool and die maker. During that time, I was drafted into the Marine Corps during the Korean War. Then I worked as a foreman, tool designer, operations manager of a large tool and die company, high school teacher, assistant dean of boys, and owner of 3 businesses, one of which today is the largest of its kind in North America. The children's books I've written have won many awards, and the videos that I've produced from these books, they're shown around the world and also many cable stations here in the States. What's the secret? It's not because I'm so smart. I use other people who are much smarter than I am. I'm constantly searching for advice from others. King Solomon said in the book of Proverbs, "In a multitude of counsels there is safety." I'm constantly seeking advice from other people. The emperor's advisors offer their suggestions. Then Sun Han, the oldest advisor, spoke. "For our kingdom to prosper, we need an emperor who is wise, courageous, and honest." "I agree," said the emperor, "but how can we find such a young boy whom we can train as the kingdom's future emperor?" "Your Majesty," said Sun Han, "I suggest the advisors get 7 of the best students in the kingdom and give their test." "What kind of test?" asked the emperor. Sun Han whispers into his ear what should be done. I didn't reveal what he told him to do to add suspense to the story. But notice what I did. I mentioned he was the oldest advisor. Unfortunately, today in our society, many people, especially children, don't respect the elderly. There's much wisdom locked in many of the minds of the elderly. Teach your children to search these well springs of wisdom. King Solomon also said this, "Counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but the man of understanding will draw it out." I have used this concept much of drawing wisdom from others. Learn to ask questions from the wise. Never believe you're the fount of all wisdom. Learn to seek advice from wise counselors, and then make your decisions. Give your children an assignment. Have them go to each grandparent and ask them, "What's the best advice you have ever received? If you had to live your life over, what would you do differently? What advice would you give me?" Have the children take notes, then discuss the notes together. Another excellent form of gaining advice is to read biographies. Sow the seed of wisdom into your children. One time I went to a swimming contest with my grandson, age 10, and nearly won the swimming match during the breaststroke. As I watched him swim, I saw he wasn't swimming properly. I went on the internet and searched for Olympian swimmers. Now, Olympian swimmers are the best swimmers in the world, and they showed close-ups of these champs swimming. I gave my grandson a lesson on the importance of imitating success. Then I went to him on the web and encouraged him to imitate these champion swimmers. Shortly after speaking to him, he had a swimming meet that covered the metropolitan area of Houston, over 6 million inhabitants. My grandson won first place for all swimming styles. The lesson: imitate success. Each of the 7 advisors began searching their towns and villages for the brightest student who was courageous, a lover of truth and wisdom. When the 7 boys arrived at the palace, You can just imagine the excitement of these boys and their parents. The emperor gave each boy a container and a seed. They were to use only the seed he gave them. Some people criticized the emperor for his foolish decision. Ming, one of the contestants, went to the library and did all the necessary research to have a healthy plant. He heard that other boys had their seeds growing, but with all his efforts, his seed wouldn't grow. Then persecution arose from his friends and classmates. When Ming told a classmate, "I can't be dishonest to use another seed," a boy yelled out, "Then be a fool." Children often get negative pressures from others. Parents, teach your children to take bold stands for what they know is right. There is tremendous pressure on children and also adults to follow the crowd. One thing that helped my wife and I in teaching our children to choose proper values was we also took them to our church that supported our values. That was an important action that helped us to steer our children into proper paths. Fortunately, Ming had parents who supported him and gave him sound advice. Mom said, "You tried your best. That's all you can do." Dad gave this advice: "You never have to be ashamed when you do what is right." Ming reluctantly went to the palace. When he entered, he placed his empty pot in the front and then went quickly back into the room to hide. The other 6 proud boys brought their beautiful plants and stood in front. When the emperor looked at the empty pot, he asked for Ming to come forth. Then the emperor said that Ming would be the next emperor. Everyone was in shock. Then the emperor explained what had happened, how the seeds were cooked and they could not grow. Everyone clapped for Ming for being honest and trustworthy. When Ming became the next emperor, everyone loved him. The people knew that Ming would always be honest and do what was best for the kingdom. Parents, sow the seeds of integrity into your children. It will benefit them for their entire lifetime.